Nation, what's up? Welcome back to the World of College Football. And tonight is Sunday, May the 3rd, 2026, year of our Lord, and we are not slowing down. I promise you. On tonight's episode, we're going to do our spring game blitz because I got a chance to watch a little bit of everything from spring camp and some of the spring games. Now, a lot of the country had games that were altered. Some had festivals. Some had no game whatsoever. I'm going to give you some of the major shakers that you need to know about today. I'm going to give you the most important tight end take that you probably going to hear all offseason that's coming up for you tonight. And then also for the culture, I'm going to talk about Andrew Bodie because he decided to come back to Alabama State this offseason. We're going to have a real deep conversation about it. This is the world of CFB, baby. Let's get it. On tonight's episode, we're going to start off with the World Report, and I'm going to talk about two breaking stories that caught my attention today on this beautiful Sunday. Happy Sunday to you and yours. Hopefully you're enjoying it to the fullest. Let's start it out with a bang and get this episode popped off. The number one tight end in 2027 recruiting class ended up committing to Lane Kiffin's LSU Tigers out there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Ahmad Hudson, who committed to LSU today. I need y'all to understand the full picture of this, so I'm going to break it down as best as I can because the stats and the rankings are only going to tell you so much. Now, this kid is 6'6", 225 pounds, out of Ruston, Louisiana. He is number 22 overall recruit nationally, and he's ESPN's number one tight end in the country for 2027 class. Now, this is beautiful because he also has an LSU legacy under his belt. His father played basketball at LSU in the early 2000s and scored over 1,000 points in his career. Now, Ahmad chose to go where the family legacy is and committed to LSU, but he's not just committed to the football program. He's coming home overall. And his football resume is something that speaks for itself, and it's something that you wouldn't expect in the top tight end in the country. He was, in 2025, he was named the MVP of the Louisiana Division I non-select championship game after catching 6 passes for over 179 yards. And this kid also put up numbers galore throughout his career in high school. The year before that, he caught 41 passes for 718 yards and 6 touchdowns and was named Newcomer of the Year. A freshman in Ruston, he helped win a state championship. So the production is there from as soon as he came out. So this is what makes this different and why the internet has been buzzing so much about this commitment. Number 25 nationally in the 2027 basketball rankings as well. This kid right here ended up choosing LSU over Nebraska, Alabama, Auburn, Texas A&M, Missouri, Ole Miss, Louisiana Tech, and Grambling on the hardwood. He averaged 21 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game as a sophomore. He had 20 points, 17 rebounds, and 6 blocks against a Duke commit in a tournament setting. That athleticism by itself is what people are going to be talking about, and it's real. It's documented, and it translates directly to the gridiron. On the football side of it, he had official visits scheduled with LSU, Nebraska, Texas A&M, and USC. He canceled Texas A&M and USC and narrowed it down to Nebraska and LSU. Now, Nebraska fans, y'all really thought that y'all had a chance to get this kid for real, but Lane Kiffin came swooping down and connected on all cylinders with the highest graded in-state commit under Lane Kiffin and the top ranked of 300 commits in 2027 class for LSU. Now, here's why it matters, because LSU already has a monster on their team already by the name of Trey'Dez Green. We're going to be talking about him later. The LSU career record holder for receiving touchdowns by a tight end is also Trey'Dez Green. the John Mackey Award winner. But when you pair Ahmad Hudson beside him, LSU is about to have two of the most gifted tight ends in the entire country on the same roster. And somebody needs to warn the SEC right now, because I don't know how Lane Kiffin ended up pulling this one out of his hat. Up next, Kingston Preyear announces top 6 and the class of 2028 year of our Lord. Now, let's talk about the future, because I know there's some people out here that's thinking beyond. Kingston Preyear is a sophomore quarterback out of Benjamin Russell High School in Alexander City, Alabama, class of 2028 originally. But he announced his top 6 schools. It came down to Alabama, Auburn, Florida. We also got Vandy and Notre Dame, as well as Clemson. Now, he expects his decision to be made by July. And for a prospect of his caliber that is an unusually early timeline, he's getting out in front of it. And he addressed it directly. And I think that tells you everything that you need to know about his, not only his ceiling, but the way he's going to approach this business side of college football, or the commitment process. Now, the football resume for him backs it up completely. And that's something that you need to know. 6'3", 195 pounds, top 5 quarterback nationally in 2028 class per Rivals, number 4 overall recruit per 247 composite. And in 2025, he threw for 3,177 yards, 31 touchdowns, and rushed for 564 yards. As a sophomore, the scouts are already praising his ability to place the ball anywhere on the field, because his pocket navigation and his ability to extend plays and avoid sacks under pressure is second to none. So Auburn right now has a lot in the mix when it comes to his recruitment, and the prediction machine since it's tending to lean in Auburn's direction. Got caught up on my words, kind of like defenders be getting caught up when they're trying to catch this dude. Preyear, he's made multiple trips out there to Auburn, and he said after receiving the offer that it was like a dream come true. Now, he said he also watched Auburn as a kid, in-state school, right up the road from me. This is important to him. But the other things that are important to him, and the quote that I can't stop thinking about when it comes to Kingston Preyear, is what he said about Notre Dame. He visited Notre Dame in South Bend and came away impressed. And when he described what he said, I love the part because not a lot of schools have the after football piece. It's bigger than football. They're building generational wealth for your kids. And about Coach Freeman, he said he's a true leader. It was a wholesome moment with them, my dad, my coach in the room, doing it together. That is a 15 or 16-year-old young man already prioritizing generational wealth in 2026 year of our Lord. Is he going to choose proximity or football pedigree? This next generation of college football recruits is speaking out loud and strongly, because what they care about actually matters in this conversation. Notre Dame and Vanderbilt offer academic prestige, but they won't be in the same sentence as Alabama and Auburn on the recruiting trail if you just talk about football only. So those are the different types of structural advantages you have in the commitment of Kingston Preyear. And I just wanted to articulate those better for you so you can understand the backstory of it. I think the academic piece is going to have the ultimate say-so in where he ultimately ends up committing. And what I feel like, if Moon had a crystal ball, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Yes, sir. Watch out how this one plays out. Let me know how you feel about it in the chat. And that is Kingston Preyear. Moon's Take coming up next, baby. You already know I'm going to get active. But before I move on to the next segment, this dude, if you have a chance to watch his film, go on Huddle and check out Kingston Preyear. He's definitely worth your time. This is the World of College Football, my show. I'm Credential Media member Moon, and I get a chance to tour the college football world nationally for the last, 3 years. This is going on to my 4th one with the CFB Nation and thecfbnation.com. I'm pleased to be able to cover college football from a drone shot lens and give y'all in-depth analysis about not just the Alabama and the SECs of the world. Alabama! I got to talk about Fresno State, too, like I did on my last episode. I got to talk about, Central Michigan and the Chippewas. I got to talk about some FCS schools. So in this atmosphere, in this space, my show, World of College Football, everybody gets some spotlight. Everybody gets some love. Coming up next, Moon's Take, presented by DCFB Nation. Let me paint a picture. I have 5 minutes to give you an argument in a compelling case. Hear me out. Let me tell you something, Nation. For 40 years, and I mean 40 years, the NFL had one obsession, that quarterback position, because it got all the money, all the attention, all the first round capital, the franchises, everything. They're saving grace. You know, ask Baltimore what it was like having to wait on Lamar Jackson to come in town. The quarterback, though, he is your position of valor. He's the one that you build your team around. But ultimately, the same quarterback, he was viewed almost like in Marvel Universe as your Captain America, your Iron Man. He was the centerpiece of every single Marvel movie your franchise was making. And everything the sport did was built around protecting the quarterback, protecting Captain America, protecting Iron Man, and developing him, paying him, and winning with him. I want to win with Captain America. And then guess what? That guy showed up. See, when Thanos entered the Marvel Universe, he didn't just come in as a traditional villain in a traditional movie. He did not follow the same formula that everybody did prior to him, or one that you could get comfortable with. He came in with a completely different approach, an assassin, different size, different power, different plan, and he forced the entire universe to reorganize around him or risk getting evaporated. Every hero had to adapt automatically, and every single strategy that they had against him had to change. The whole game shifted because one player who did not fit the mold anymore inserted himself into the equation, and Thanos is there. Could I equate Thanos in the Marvel universe as tight ends in the college football universe? Because that's exactly what tight ends did to the NFL in 2026. And college football is about to feel the same thing. The rumbling has been going on for a while. But, you know, I'm not going to come to my case and not have the receipts ready to go for you. The spring's 2026 NFL draft in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania saw 22 tight ends selected. 22. That is the most in any single draft since 2002, year of our Lord. 9 of them went in the first 3 rounds. 9. You want to know how many quarterbacks went in the first round? 1. So, the draft is clearly telling me college offenses ran 2 tight end sets at the highest clip. Coaches often call 12 personnel when you have 1 running back, 2 tight ends on the field. 17% over the time since 2016. In 2025, that number was 23% and has been trending up. Teams' use of 12 personnel every year. Sean McVay in Los Angeles, Ben Johnson in Chicago, 2 of the most celebrated offensive minds that the sport loves to praise. What do they like to do? 12 personnel. So, tight end position is being utilized as a weapon that changes everything. But here's what I really want you to understand, because tight ends are just one thing. They do not come in one size or shape or one specific skill set. They come in all variations, all flavors, all types of dominance. And just like Thanos needed all 6 Infinity Stones to have complete power, the tight end position in 2026, year of our Lord, has 6 distinct variations that each bring a different kind of devastation to an offense. So let me walk you through every single one of them. You saw my man get eviscerated. Crazy work. Dread from it, run from it, destiny arrives, all the same. You cannot escape it. The Power Stone. This is your physically dominant tight end, the one who creates matchup problems just by existing on the field. The one who makes defensive coordinators lose sleep on Saturday night, Friday night, Thursday night, Wednesday night, because they don't have anybody on their team that could cover him one-on-one. That guy in 2026, year of our Lord, with the Power Stone is Trey'Dez Green at LSU. 6'7", 237 pounds, second team all SEC as a sophomore, led his team with 7 touchdown receptions and set the single season LSU record for receiving for a tight end. 176 of his 433 receiving yards came after the catch. You can't tackle this dude. Talk about power. He already is LSU's career record holder for receiving touchdowns by a tight end with 11. Now you insert Ahmad Hudson into the mix, the number one tight end in the 2027 class. You see what I did there? Paired it up. It's coming to play alongside him. Lane Kiffin is about to have two power stones on the same roster. I need somebody to pray for SEC defensive coordinators right now. Let's take a moment of silence. As you were, the Space Stone. This is your positionless tight end. There's no leaps or bounds. It can stretch as far as it can. The one you have no idea where to line up on against your defense because, he can play at any position. He breaks the structure of what a tight end is supposed to be. Insert Ellis Williams at Georgia, 6'7", 255, a 5-star recruit out of Camden County, Georgia, who ranked the number one tight end nationally in his class. You notice a thing? In 2025, as a true freshman, he caught 7 passes for 117 yards and a touchdown. But the real story is what he brings and moving forward. Moving with Lawson Lucky. You could put this kid in the slot. You could put him at H-back. You could put him at tight end traditional. You could put him on at wide. There's no answer for it. He's going to be a mismatch nightmare. That's why I gave him the Space Stone. Because anywhere on the field is a weapon for Ellis Williams. You need the Time Stone. This is your veteran tight end. The one who wins with experience and intelligence and processing speed. The one who, time itself is the weapon because he never gets rushed. He never gets put off of his position, and he's impossible to fool. That right there is Peter Clark at Temple, 6'6", 265. And listen to this story because it's one of my favorites in the world of college football right now. Peter Clark is from London, England. He learned the game of football through a Jacksonville Jaguars youth initiative as a teenager. Talk about the game traveling abroad. He came to America. He sat behind veteran tight ends for 2 years learning the game. He missed most of another year with the hand injury, so he's been through his bumps and bruises. And then ultimately, none of that showed up in 2025 because he put up 30 catches, 483 yards, and 6 touchdowns, the most touchdown catches by a Temple product in years. He earned second team All-American Conference. Well, I said All-American, I call it All-American, but the AAC, you know what I mean? Time is his weapon. The fact that he has me giving him spotlight in this should showcase that you should go watch his tape. That is a tight end, and that is why he has the Time Stone. Let's talk about the Reality Stone. This is your two-way guy. The guy that bends reality of what the position is even supposed to look like in the first place. He blocks like a lineman, and he could pass up as one. But he catches like a receiver, as you can see pictured on your screen, and he makes you question every assumption that you had about what the position is. That right there is Garrett Oakley at Kansas State. Avery Johnson's security blanket in 2026. 6'5", 245. Finance major from Columbus, Nebraska. I didn't even know there was a Columbus, Nebraska. And he plays with the physicality that tells you exactly what you're going to get from him. He is Kansas State's all-time career receiving touchdowns leader among tight ends with 13 of them things. He has earned all Big 12 recognition in each of the last 2 seasons, arguably one of the most consistent tight ends in the Big 12 the last 2 years running. His blocking always draws consistent praise no matter who you ask in the circles. And he delivered a 2-touchdown game against TCU. That's the reason why I got him on my screen right now. It's time to wake up to reality. The Reality Stone I gave him because he changes what you think the position has to be. Let's talk about the Mind Stone. This is your football IQ tight end. The one that makes the quarterback better. The one that makes the offense better, the team better, the morale better. He does great in interviews. He processes coverage schemes faster than defensive coordinators can change them. That is DJ Vonnegut at Iowa. 6'4", 240, and his backstory is absolutely everything. He was a walk-on out of Carroll Kemper High School where he played quarterback, wide receiver, and safety. And he had to understand almost every position on the field just to make the team. So when you talk about a dog, he definitely fits the bill. I mean, how he gets open before the quarterback even recognizes him in his route is beyond me. He torched Vanderbilt for 7 catches, 146 yards in the Mariah Quest Bowl, and they still trying to figure out how my dog got busy. This man could have the chance to be the first tight end in Iowa since TJ Hawkinson to have 700 plus receiving yards in the season coming into 2026. A former walk-on could go down as one of the greatest tight ends in Iowa history. He has the Mind Stone, football intelligence as the most powerful weapon of them all. And lastly, the Soul Spoon. 6 Infinity Stones, 6 different tight end archetypes, 6 completely different ways to destroy a defense. The Power Stone, he can't be tackled. That's Trey'Dez Green. The Space Stone, he can't be covered. The Time Stone cannot be fooled. The Reality Stone, that changes everything of what the position means. And ultimately, the Mind Stone makes everybody better. But what catches my attention the most is the Soul Stone, because that holds all things together. The NFL just figured out what Thanos figured out. You do not win with one single stone. You win when you collect all of them. That's why you see all these NFL teams loading up on so many of the tight end position guys. And right now in 2026, the tight end position in college football is building towards that same revolution. 22 tight ends got drafted this spring. 9 of them went in the first 3 rounds. The 12 personnel is climbing up every single year, and Lane Kiffin is over here about to run a Power Stone offense by having Trey'Dez Green in the newest signing on his roster. That is Moon's take. That is the world of college football. Welcome to the Road Tour, and I want to call this the Road Tour, or my spring game road trip, as we get into the World Tour segment. Nation, we're about to get in the car and hop on the highway and go visit what happened in some of these spring games. You're going to hear about what I saw and hear about what matters. I call this my spring game blitz. Let's get into it. We start where only one could feel so familiar. Out there in Texas. Arch Manning is feeling 100% after a foot surgery, and in limited action, he threw a touchdown to Cam Coleman. All what is going to be in 2026. That skill talent at Texas is elite, but the run game averaged only 138 yards per game last year, and that did not get fixed in the spring. So we still have question marks on Texas's offensive line. And we still have question marks on how the run game gels, even with Raleek Brown into the building. And until that changes, I think Texas' ceiling is kind of capped. But you can't deny all the skill positions that they have on their team. And you can't deny that guy right there, he might have been overhyped last year in his rookie season, technically. But this year, he got a little bumps on his armor, some chinks now. In his most recent time that we saw him, he was getting busy in the Cheez-Its. So I'm betting on Archie 2026. Let's take a trip down to Columbus, Ohio. Ohio State put 40,000 fans in the stadium on a rainy day, and the defense dominated. Julian Sayin showed leadership and mobility, did some interviews. Freshman wide receiver Chris Henry Jr. nearly went for 100 yards and a touchdown. The younger talent is emerging, but 2 projected started tackles got hurt and will miss the rest of spring. So we got to watch how the offensive line depth has in fall camp. Now, when it comes to Ohio State as a whole, I don't get mad at anybody for putting Ohio State in the top 5, top 3. I wouldn't be mad. Last year, they were unequivocally the number 1 team in the nation all year long. This year, I'm expecting big things out there with the only college football team to run NFL systems on offense and defense. Let's take a trip down to the rivals. Ann Arbor Michigan's spring game was low scoring, kind of boring, and 7-6 was the score. Now, honestly, that tells you the story, but not all the way. Tommy Carr did his best impersonation of a superhero, coming in and saving the day for the maize and the blue team. He did what he was supposed to do. Bryce Underwood, on the other hand, underwhelmed in the spring game, even though he only played a contactless first quarter. Now, this is what the nation should be knowing about. The running back that you see pictured on your screen, Savion Hyder, he should be the backup behind the sensation that happened last year with Marshall. And I'm expecting Michigan to lean heavy on the run this year. The offense, though, they got some question marks to see how fast the new regime can gel and how comfortable Bryce can get. Let's take a trip down to Athens, Georgia. Red beat Black 27-17 in front of 31,000 fans. Tight ends Jaden Riddell and freshman Caden Prothro both flashed in this game. Kentucky transfer Dante Dowdell broke a 28-yard run with a stiff arm that got busy. Gunnar Stockton was efficient early, but ultimately a lot of quarterbacks got a chance to play in Georgia's spring game. They got a lot of freshmen to work with. So Georgia is integrating young talent while protecting his veterans. The defense showed its teeth. Georgia is going to be fine, but Nate Frazier got hurt, so it's something that kind of dimmed the light on the day overall. That's what happened in Athens. Let's take a trip out there to Miami. They had to move the location of the spring game, but it was all still fine out there in Coral Gables. Darian Mensah, the Duke transfer quarterback, 3 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, and limited action. He extended plays. He looked calm. He delivered accurate under pressure. Freshman tackle Jackson Cantwell at 6'8", 330. He looked like a wall up front, and I keep hearing nothing about positive things coming out about Jackson Cantwell. Mario Cristobal said that there's a lot more progress to go for the Miami Hurricanes. However, that heartbreaking loss in the title game is only going to fuel the Hurricanes even more, and that hunger is probably the most dangerous thing about them heading into 2026, other than the fact that they managed to get Cooper Barkate and Malachi Toney on the same team. Yeah, let's talk about another riser, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's spring game was a beatdown, and the numbers were kind of almost embarrassing because Team Swarm had 383 yards in 56 plays, while Team Recon had 41 yards, 141 yards, and only 29 plays. So the transfer quarterback Alberto Mendoza was the star of the day, in my opinion. He looked like he'd been there for years, and I mean, the future is bright, at least in 2026 for the Yellow Jackets. Tight end Kevin Roche Jr. caught 6 passes for 70 yards in the game. The offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage, and, you know, it was a great day in the trenches for Georgia Tech. The question isn't in 26, is Georgia Tech talented? I feel like the question for Georgia Tech in 2026 is whether this all holds when Colorado comes to Atlanta in September. Houston's locked and loaded. Connor Weigman is fully healthy, entering year 2 in the same offense, which is a luxury a lot of teams out there can't say in this transfer portal era. Their receiving room is headlined by Amari Thomas, a name that you should definitely write and circle down. Now, he had 67 catches, 936 yards, and 12 touchdowns last season for the Cougars. The defense was a plus, and the first real test comes on a Friday night road trip to Texas Tech in week 3. That game is going to tell us everything about where Houston is and what their ceiling could possibly be in 2026. Let's go to Kentucky. Kentucky ran the Mamba drill during their spring game. 101s across every position group in the red zone. That's what the Mamba drill is. Pure competition. Will Stein was not shying away from it, and it was not a spectacle for real. It was a modified spring game. But the things to take away is that the offensive line is setting around 4 projected starters and true freshman Kenny Darby. He ended up as a potential slot starter at receiver. Kenny Minchie looked like they're going to be the starting quarterback for my guys. And the edge group at Kentucky seems to be loaded. They go to Alabama early in the schedule, and that game is going to be a real measuring stick to see if the new coach can come out guns blazing. Now, one of my favorite stories that happened is Jared Curtis. Jared Curtis Thank you, Vanderbilt, for allowing my guy to play in the spring. The number one recruit in the 2026 class, he went 5 for 15 for 88 yards. But the thing beyond the numbers is that he had a cross-body throw in the red zone that looked like a video game. He also looked like a freshman who had never faced the SEC blitz before, or SEC pressure. Coach Clark Lee said time will give him an opportunity to grow. He's going to have to grow fast, but he's getting thrown into the fire. All systems go from day one. And the question for me isn't is Jared Curtis talented or will he be great? I feel like the question is, can Vanderbilt survive the learning curve before it's time for another school to come in and swoop him away from their campus? You get what I'm saying? That right there, my friend, is your spring game blitz. Brought to you by CFB Nation. Up next, for the culture. For the culture, every single episode of World of College Football, we're going to be talking about the culture because these stories deserve a platform and the respect and the same energy as anything else happening in Columbus or in Tuscaloosa or in Baton Rouge today. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Andrew Bodie, quarterback at Alabama State, and the decision he made this offseason that I want to give proper conversation to. Now, first, who is Andrew Bodie and why does this name matter to us? He is a kid out of Corpus Christi, Texas, Miller High School to be exact, and he ranks third all-time in Texas high school football passing history with 13,000 career yards. 13,000. Now, he threw for over 4,000 yards and 48 touchdowns as a senior in high school. He spent 3 seasons at Texas Southern before transferring to Alabama State in January 24. He ended up getting hurt in the first game and missed this whole season because of a shoulder. In 2025, he had one of the most complete quarterback seasons in all of HBCU football. Here's what this kid did last year. He helped power Alabama State to their first 10-win season in 21 years. He was named SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. He was also named the HBCU National Player of the Year. He completed nearly 71% of his passes for 1,770 yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. With passing efficiency rating of 230.6, he also rushed for 518 yards and 4 touchdowns. The workload was right all in our face. The game that everybody talks about is the Magic City Classic. 6 touchdowns in one single game. In the season opener versus UAB, he sliced and diced them for 312 yards and 4 touchdowns. He ran one for 119 yards in a single score, and he earned HBCU National Player of the Week against Jackson State, where he racked up a career high 442 yards of total offense in a game that was not decided until the final play outside of the goal line. He led the entire SWAC in touchdown passes and points responsible for, while leading an offense that ranked first or second in the conference in 13 statistical categories and top 12 in the FCS in 7 different categories. Put respect on Andrew Bodie's name. I'm just going to start there. This is not no small stool quarterback that was just having a nice season. Nah, this is an elite performer having an elite season at a level that doesn't get enough recognition. Now, this is where the story gets crazy, because on December 16th, Andrew Bodie ended up in the transfer portal. On December 18th, he said his DMs were open. On January 4th, he posted a graphic and said that 36 schools were in contact with him. So he was getting recruited by Notre Dame, UCF, Florida, Penn State, Vanderbilt, among schools that wanted his services. In the caption, it said, "Time is ticking." The reigning HBCU National Player of the Year took 5 official visits to FBS programs. The whole community was watching to see where he would land. I didn't know where he was going to land. And then he did the unthinkable. This man came back to Alabama State. Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. explained it perfectly and plainly. He said Andrew Bodie is a kid who could do a lot of different things with the ball. He has leadership ability. And when you have so many new people coming in, you need guys who have been in that leadership role before and can step right back into it cold. Thank the heavens Andrew Bodie came back. My honest take on this, and I'm going to be real with y'all, is that people are going to debate whether Andrew Bodie made the right decision. People are going to debate, is he just a washed up, injury-prone quarterback? People are going to debate whether he left an FBS opportunity at the table when you can go to Notre Dame, UCF, Penn State, Florida. And I understand that conversation 100%, my friend. But here's also what I want you to think about. He did his homework. He looked at every single option available to him. He took his visits, and he ultimately chose to come back to a place where he is the national reigning, defending HBCU National Player of the Year, where he leads an offense that performs at a FCS top 12 level, and he has unfinished business in the SWAC, including a SWAC championship that he still has to chase, a celebration bowl to possibly play in, and questions are going to remain about his health, his durability, how much he cares, and 2 separate injuries, one with his shoulder. But ultimately, what you need to know is that this man's playmaking is absolutely magical. And in 2025, he showcased that time and time again. He came back to Alabama State to bet on himself. He just played Greek. He just pledged Greek in a fraternity. He at home. Why I need to leave? And each player's path is definitely different, but his path, it seems to be running through Montgomery, Alabama. Alabama State, Andrew Bodie choosing each other, choosing to stay and finish his process, finish what he started, says everything about this young man's character and shows everything about his conviction. And that, my friend, that's for the culture. Welcome, man. It's your boy Moon back at it again. It's college football Sunday, man. We are so close, T-minus like less than 130 days from the college football season. I'm nationally credentialed media member Moon, bringing you through all the storylines that happened since the last time I saw you. If you're a new subscriber, new viewer, I want to welcome you in with open arms. Get comfortable. In this place, we try to give everybody some love, not just the big guys. You know, like Ice Spice said, big guy, big guy. No, we gotta make sure everybody gets some love. Coming up next on my show, Moon's rankings, top five, who's coming out to play. Tonight, we're gonna talk about the top 5 Georgia high school running backs that I'm paying attention to in 2026, year of our Lord. I got 4 minutes to cook. Every episode, I'm going to give y'all my rankings. Tonight, we stay home in the Peach State because that's my home. And Georgia has one of the most fertile grounds for the running back talent in the entire country. And right now, there are 5 names in 2028 and 1 in 2029 that the recruiting classes should be aware of and know about before the rest of the country actually figures out what's going on. So let's count this thing down and let's talk about it. Pictured on your screen is Jeremy Ferguson, Rome High School, class of 2029. Shout out to my dog. He followed me earlier. Shout out to you, Jeremy. You know it's good. Jeremy, he comes in at number 5, but he could easily be number 1. He's the youngest on this list, class of 2029 out of Rome High School, 5'8", 153. But he played a significant amount of varsity snaps as a freshman and 5A football in Georgia. That is a tall ask. He carried a major load as the starting running back. Game performance included 106 yards in a touchdown in a single game, 88 yards on 15 carries in another, and a 34-yard touchdown run. The guys at Prep Red Zone described this kid as a shifty and smooth high school football. IQ is up there. And he's the guy that's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to run through you. He attacks what's in front of him decisively. He sees a hole, gets to the hole, and explodes through. He stood out at the Prep Red Zone camp and is described as one of the special backs in the Peach State because of his work ethic. Rome High School? Oh, yeah. Get familiar with the name. He enters 6A comp in 2026, so it's going to be a lot more buzz. But his workload is also going to expand. He's at 5 right now, but he won't be at 5 for long. That is Mr. Jeremy J.R. Ferguson. Coming up next. Same high school. Same beast. Justin Spivey, Rome High School, class of 2028, year of our Lord. He's at number 4, and he's also out of Rome. Class of 2028, though. 5'9" to 5'10", depending on who you ask. 170 to 175, depending on who you want to ask. But the reason why I like him is because he plays a lot of position. He carries the ball, but he also gets busy in the receiving game too. He plays running back, slot receiver, plays some defensive snaps as well. I think he's a dynamic, all-around type of playmaker with amazing ability who makes big plays in big moments and is constantly showcased as clutch. He had 56 rushing yards and a touchdown against New Manchester and 85 receiving yards in another game, and was consistently a contributor for Rome's playoff run. And in today's college's offenses, you need a guy, a player, a gadget that can do a lot. Run, receive, and all of that is at a premium. Watch his receiving numbers climb in 2026. Watch his touches climb in 2026. Justin Spivey. Got to get some love, my dog. Up next, Ezekiel Carter at Adairsville High School, class of 2028. Now, Moon, why are you talking about these kids in 2028? We still got a long time to go. You need to know about him because this kid, 5'9", 180, as a freshman, he had 66 carries for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a long run of 53 yards that showed off his burst, his acceleration. But the numbers as a freshman were not flashy, but overall what was his work ethic. And the film, when you start watching it, it tells a different story. He is described as one of the hardest working players in all of the Peach State. And his workload is expected to increase significantly for Adairsville in 2026. When coaches trust a player enough to increase his touches, increase his workload, that is a significant sign and a signal, a flag that's waving. You need to pay attention. Ezekiel Carter is going to be a name coming up soon. Number 2, Isaiah Knowles, Calhoun High School, class of 2028. He's at number 2, 5'9", 164, multi-sport athlete. He plays football, basketball, baseball. In 2025, he ran for 421 yards at a 6.2 average with 5 touchdowns. He's listed as halfback and safety on a depth chart, which tells you that he knows how to see the game from multiple levels and positions from both sides of the ball. When a running back understands defenses the way a safety does, he finds holes before they are even open. You can see that showing up in his tape. He also completed passes when they needed him to do so the most. And that showcases his quarterback IQ. He ranked top 9 in 3A region in rushing yards, and he's just getting started. Isaiah Knowles is a name you're going to hear a lot about in 2026 and 2027. Last but not least, Gainesville High School's finest, Dwight Lewis Jr., class of 2028. Your number 1 prospect in 2025 had 118 carries for 892 yards rushing, a 7.6 yard average per carry with 8 rushing touchdowns. Gainesville fell in love with him. 10 total touchdowns in his career. He also caught 11 passes for 151 yards, 3 more scores. Over 1,000 all-purpose yards on the season. His best game was 112 yards against Lanier on 13 totes and 2 touchdowns. He played 14 games and carried a real workload against real competition at a program that went deep into the playoffs and continues to do so consistently since Gainesville, back when, D. Watson was there. Dwight Lewis is going to put himself in the national recruiting conversation in 2026. You should write the name down now, because when the offers start coming in, you will want to say that you heard it here first on World of College Football. That right there, my friend, is my rankings. Top 5 Georgia running backs that you can't miss in 2027 year of our Lord. Drop it in the comments. Tell me if I missed anybody. Let me know who deserves to move up higher on the board. Let's talk about it. This is the World of CFB. So long. Farewell to you, my friend. We been getting through these episodes quickly. I've been hitting my 45-minute gap, and on today's episode, we got a chance to talk about a lot of things, including what Lane Kiffin is out here doing with the new Ahmad Hudson recruitment that happened and was announced today. We also talked about Trey'Dez Green already getting a lot of buzz in 2025. That's going to another level. The SEC needs to be on notice about what Lane Kiffin is doing, but he is not the only one securing these, let's just say, Thanos build tight ends. Kingston Preyear is 15 or 16 years old, talking about he wants generational wealth for his kids. And that quote is going to be remembered when he makes his decision coming up in July. We still got some time. Andrew Bodie, he bet on himself by coming back to Alabama State. And whatever you think about that call, he decided that I'm going to respect the clarity that I have, and I know what I want. I can always respect the man that goes after what he wants and does it without hesitating. The tight end revolution, I tried to give you Moon's take on how the tight end revolution is compared to Marvel movies. And what the NFL is out there doing, everybody is leaning towards 12 personnel in this new age. And lastly, we talked about players like Dwight Lewis out of Gainesville, Georgia. Write the name down because you'll be saying it again. That is the world of college football. I'm Moon, nationally credentialed media member of the CFB Nation, the fastest growing college football media platform in the world. If you're not subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button. It costs you nothing and it means everything to me. Share this with somebody who needs to be a part of our world, and if you learn something, that's even more reason to share it. And make sure you find us at thecfbnation.com, lead editor on the website. Follow thecfbnation on Twitter. If you like the content, hit that repost, and I'll see you on the next one. Until next time, my friend, that is my world, and I'll leave you with this one thought. I was looking at Notre Dame's schedule earlier today, and I said, these guys have only 4 true road games, and one of them is Syracuse at the end of the year. Oh, Syracuse. I'm so scared. Notre Dame is made perfect to go to the college football playoff again. And then when you sit there and look about what they negotiated in fine print at the tail end of last year, saying that they finish in the top 10, they automatically get a bid. In your free time, until I see you next time, go check out their schedule and tell me, where does a one loss come to outside of Miami? That's what we'll talk about next time. This is the world of CFB. Let's get it.